à ma propre place sur cette scène celui qui va animer cette rencontre, le rédacteur en chef de Première. Mesdames et messieurs, merci d'accueillir Gaël Golen.
Merci, merci. Bonsoir à tous. Bonsoir à tous. Je pense que vous avez suffisamment entendu, donc on va directement accueillir Johnny Depp qui est là. Johnny Depp, s'il vous plaît.
I found this. Can I keep it? Bonjour.
Je ferai la traduction, sauf quand ce sera en français. Johnny, I will do this translation. But if you want, we speak in French. I know that the audience likes that here, so.
Yeah, quand ça vient, ça vient.
Okay. You don't have your recorder, which is, kind of a cult moment for French, when at the César. When you didn't bring it today.
No, I didn't. I didn't prepare the recorder. But I thought it was a nicer. It was the most honest way to make this speech at that time, was to try to speak French, and the thought of doing it live at the Césars was, it would have been a complete abomination. So I recorded it.
Pour ceux qui n'ont pas, compris, je lui parlais de l'enregistrement qu'il avait fait au moment des Césars, où il avait préparé un remerciement avec un recorder, un petit enregistreur, et il me disait que c'était pour lui que c'était très important de parler français et de venir comme ça, mais que live, il ne se sentait pas de le faire face à cette assemblée. Donc ce soir, on va brièvement essayer de repasser tout le fil de la carrière de Johnny Depp. Je m'arrêterai sur des rôles emblématiques, parce que c'est un acteur qui est très... qui a incarné des rôles qui sont devenus cultes. Donc on va s'arrêter comme ça sur certains rôles qui ont émaillé sa carrière. So tonight we are going to dig your filmography and to go back to some key roles of yours, and maybe you can just recollect some memories and how you work, because this is what really interests me and what interests people, I think. But before going to the role, maybe we can begin with the beginning, childhood, and most, for me, most interesting is that before movies there was music, and you said that your first enlightenment was Van Morrison's Astral Weeks.
Astral Weeks.
Avant de repasser ses rôles en revue, je voudrais qu'on revienne d'abord à son enfance et surtout à un moment clé de son histoire, qui est le moment où il découvre non pas le cinéma mais la musique, et Astral Weeks de Van Morrison. What's the effect and what did it convey to you as a child?
I remember very clearly at the age of probably 11 or 12, roughly. At the time, there was a record that was very, very popular, and it was Peter Frampton's record, Frampton Comes Alive. And I remember I was playing that record in my bedroom, and my older brother, Danny, who's 10 years older than me, he came in and he flicked he flicked the needle off the record, and then he threw the record across the room, and then he grabbed Astral Weeks and put it on the player, and he said, "If you want to listen to music, listen to real music." And when he put on Astral Weeks, it was a revelation because it was outside of my sphere of knowledge. It was outside my taste, even because at that time you're learning what your taste is. So that was the first record he turned me on to. Then he turned me on to the soundtrack to Last Tango in Paris.
Wow.
And then Clockwork Orange. So there were 3 records that were very, very different from anything I'd listened to before, but my appreciation for music and the potential sonically, what you could create, my obsession began, then searching outside, not the radio, not what they want to feed you, but what I want to feed myself,
En fait, il écoutait un. What was the name of the record you were listening to before? That's weird.
It was called. It was Peter Frampton. It was called Frampton Comes Alive. It was a live album. Yeah.
Frampton Comes Alive. C'était des disques qu'il écoutait. Et un jour, son grand frère qui avait 10 ans de plus est arrivé. C'était donc sur des 33 tours. Il est arrivé. Il a éjecté le manche du tourne-disque et il lui a dit, si tu dois écouter de la musique, écoute de la bonne musique. Et il lui a mis Astral Weeks de Van Morrison. Je conseille à tous ceux qui sont là et qui ne connaissent pas d'aller sur YouTube. C'est une expérience qui peut changer votre vie, comme elle a changé en tout cas celle de Johnny Depp, puisque à partir de ce moment-là, il a découvert que voilà, il pouvait aller chercher ailleurs en fait, qu'il n'était pas obligé d'écouter ce que lui donnait la radio, ce que les médias ou le mainstream lui donnaient de manière presque automatique, et qu'il y avait une vie en fait dans les marges globalement, et son grand frère lui a donné donc le disque Astral Weeks, lui a conseillé d'écouter Last Tango in Paris, le dernier tango à Paris, Gato Barbieri, if I'm correct, et également Clockwork Orange mécanique, la bande originale donc du film de Stanley Kubrick. Et c'est ce qui lui a ouvert de nouveaux horizons. How did the music after I guess that you played guitar and you were like in a band, but how did the music inform the way you were going to perform? Did you make the link from the beginning between the acting stuff and the music stuff?
No. When my obsession with the guitar came to me at 12, that was it. I had found everything that I needed. In fact, I can remember coming home from school, going directly into my room and just playing guitar for hours, or learning how to play, listening to records, or just trying to learn by ear, and for days and months and eventually years. I don't remember puberty at all. I don't. I was playing the guitar and drooling.
Quand il a commencé à écouter cette musique, il est devenu complètement obsédé par la guitare. Il s'est mis à jouer à partir de l'âge de 12 ans sur cet instrument, et il ne faisait plus que ça. Il se rappelle plus du tout de la puberté, et ce qui l'intéressait, c'était juste jouer dans sa chambre, jouer de la guitare. And then going through, you had a band, The Kids, I think. The Kids. Et donc après, il a eu un groupe qui s'appelait The Kids, and then The Kids, you went to Los Angeles with The Kids, I guess. And donc il va avec les Kids à Los Angeles. The Kids splits. I'm going very fast, but because I want to come to movies and then you when it splits, you decide to go to the acting business. How was the first time you thought that you were going to play?
As he said, I was in a band and had been in the band since I was 17, and we played constantly. And we moved to Los Angeles and became just another band in Los Angeles, which is generally what happens. We had some, we did shows, we opened for a lot of acts and things like that. And then the band kind of just, it sort of went away very abruptly. And honestly, I needed to make money, So I was filling out applications at like video stores or bookstores or any kind of store, anything. And then my friend, way back when, Nick Cage, said, I think you should meet my agent. I think you're an actor. And at that point, I would have met his grandmother for a job. So it was that. So I really had no interest at all in becoming an actor. I'm not sure I've ever decided to become an actor yet.
Did you juste pour donc en fait il a ce groupe qui l'emmène à Los Angeles, et puis il faisait des premières parties, ça marchait pas mal, mais un jour le groupe se sépare comme tous les groupes de rock, et à un moment donné voilà, il est obligé de vivre, et pour gagner sa vie il fait plein de petits boulots comme ça, et à un moment donné il est à cette époque ami avec Nicolas Cage. Et à un moment donné, Nicolas Cage, qui lui était déjà un peu dans le movie business, lui dit si tu veux, je te présente à mon agent, et c'est comme ça en fait qu'il a eu ses premiers rôles. Et il rajoutait, je ne sais toujours pas aujourd'hui si j'ai vraiment décidé d'être un acteur. Since you mentioned it, you've already said that you didn't know if you decided to become an actor. But I was wondering, how did you never learned any techniques, or you never read books, Stanislavski or whatever? Is it really pure instinct, the way you are acting?
No, because there was a point when I realized that I had been somehow placed on another road, and that road was in the. It seemed to be in the acting world, and once I realized that was the road I was on, and that I was to take. That's when I dug in and studied at a place. It was a famous acting, facility for drama coaches and theater, the Loft Studio. So I studied there for a while, and then, but mostly what was two things: reading the right books, starting at the beginning, which is with, the beginning is An Actor Prepares, Stanislavski. You have to get through that book first, and then you can approach the next. So essentially what I've done is I've just hand-picked the bits that I find help, or that I can use within the work, And even to this day, within the acting, when I'm making a film, music is still a huge part of it, because because music is the instant. It's instantly effective with regard to emotion. A certain song will take you back to some memory from childhood or whatever, and you apply these things to the words or the work.
I love that regarding that you are a lot of time at screen mute. You work with music. I love this idea, but we'll go on to that later. En fait, donc je lui demandais, c'est quelque chose qu'il a toujours dit, ça, qu'il il se demandait encore s'il était acteur et si c'était vraiment voilà, s'il y avait une vocation ou s'il se sentait vraiment comédien dans l'âme. Mais je lui demandais si, justement, vu les gens, vu son parcours et vu les gens avec lesquels il avait travaillé, si à aucun moment il avait senti le besoin en fait, d'apprendre la technique, la maîtrise. Et donc ce que Johnny répondait, c'est qu'en fait il l'a fait à un moment donné, quand il a vu que justement il était en train de devenir acteur, qu'il était en train d'emprunter cette voie. Il s'est dit qu'il était peut-être temps justement d'acquérir les bases. Il a été dans une école de coach d'acting, de Loft Studio, which is in LA, New York. Yeah, qui était donc Love Studio, qui était à LA. Et cette école, donc lui, voilà, il avait effectivement appris les bases. Il avait aussi lu à ce moment les grands ouvrages classiques, et notamment Stanislavski, qui est un grand théoricien sur le jeu d'acteur. Et par ailleurs, il me disait, mais quand moi je joue, quand je commence un rôle, en fait, ce qui est le plus important pour moi, pour la technique, pour ce que je vais imprimer au rôle que je vais jouer, c'est la musique. Parce que la musique, en fait, a quelque chose d'instinct, d'immédiat. C'est quelque chose qui provoque des émotions immédiates, et c'est ça qui me permet de transmettre les émotions que je vais essayer de transmettre au spectateur à l'écran. So, the first place where we can start is, I don't know what you're feeling today about this, 21 Jump Street. Yes. Tom on son, and not on some, but on son. Yeah. Okay. How did you get there, and what did you learn with this role, which is the first really big role that you get and that propels you on the stage?
Yes. When I got a phone call from my agent at that time, and television was the devil, you know.
For you or for
me?
Okay.
For sure, was the devil, because television at the time was the parameters, it was very controlled, very small. Everything was very formulaic. Everything had to be done, ding, 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 ding. You know. So, and also when you start to realize, you know, that these people at the time, 20th Century Fox, had turned me into some product that I wasn't. Yeah, that tends to spook you out a little. I feel a lot of different things about that period, that show. One, I feel that it was the best schooling that I could have had, because there's no better way to learn the process than just doing it. And doing it every day for hours and hours on end, for months and months and months out of the year, 7, 9 months out of the year. It's a great education in the process of making a film or whatever. So you learn quite a lot. The problem that I had was I was trying to fight the labels. I don't like the idea of being labeled as something, or well, because it's too simple. It's done to death, Back then they would say, the new James Dean. Today, few of the media know who James Dean is, which is a tragedy, But so I wanted to get fired from that show, and I tried for 2 years, and they wouldn't fire me. And I tried almost everything. I, rubber band around my tongue, because if you're an actor and you've made a character choice, it's really nothing to do with them. So if I put a rubber band around the back of my tongue and I say that my character has a speech impediment, because the producers weren't smiling.
But you are.
Oh, I was smiling. Yeah. But it still didn't get me fired. It just made me look like an ass, which is fine.
Sur 21 Jump Street, donc il a eu un coup de fil de son agent pour lui dire que voilà, il avait été casté pour jouer un flic dans des écoles. Wasn't it ironic that you left school at 15 and you were playing a cop in school, which is kind of crazy. Anyway. Donc il jouait ce flic infiltré dans les écoles alors qu'il avait, ce que je venais de lui dire, alors qu'il venait de quitter l'école, alors qu'il avait quitté l'école très très tôt. Et donc il a eu au début beaucoup de problèmes, enfin pas au début, mais il a toujours détesté en fait faire ce show pour une raison bête, c'est que pour lui je comprenais pas, pardon. Je croyais qu'on me demandait de m'arrêter.
They're waving at you, so I'm waving to them for you.
Et donc it's going to be tough. Et donc ce qui l'embêtait, c'était la télé. Pour lui, c'était le diable, c'est-à-dire effectivement tout rapetissé, tout dans des petits cadres, des petits formats, c'était vraiment l'enfer. Mais il l'a fait, et évidemment, et rétrospectivement, même si à l'époque il a eu beaucoup de mots durs contre la série, rétrospectivement c'est quand même ce qui lui a permis d'abord d'être connu, et puis aussi ça a été une très bonne école, parce qu'il y avait un rythme de tournage qui était très, très, très dense, très intense, et que c'était vraiment c'était le meilleur moyen pour lui justement d'apprendre le métier de comédien. Il raconte aussi que très vite il a voulu se faire virer, qu'il a fait beaucoup de choses pour se faire virer, notamment se mettre du scotch autour de la langue, parce que en fait, comme c'était tout bête, c'est que c'était une option de créativité sur son personnage, et que personne ne pouvait rien lui dire. Donc les producteurs voyaient qu'il s'était mis un truc en disant ah oui, j'ai un problème d'élocution ce matin, quand il arrivait et qu'il jouait son personnage, mais évidemment ça faisait pas rire les producteurs, et pendant 2 ans ils ont refusé de le virer, et puis finalement au bout de 2 ans, have you been fired? No. Non, il a même pas réussi à se faire virer en fait. Non. You try hard.
I tried very hard. I was what happened was I was filming Edward Scissorhands,
okay.
And I got a phone call from my agent who said that Fox had missed the date that they were supposed to let me know that we were doing another season. They hadn't made the date, so on legal bounds, I was free. Okay. So I felt like Nelson Mandela instantly, you know.
Il s'est senti comme Nelson Mandela quand il est sorti de prison, quand il a arrêté 21 Jump Street. En fait, son agent, you are already shooting Scissorhands? No. Ok. Il tournait déjà Edward aux mains d'argent avec Tim Burton et en fait il a eu un coup de fil de son agent qui lui a dit ils ont oublié de renouveler ton contrat donc tu es libre, et c'est pour ça qu'il s'est senti libre. You were speaking about Edward Scissorhands, which is like there is of course Cry Baby, which is kind of very important in your career. If we just 1 minute about Cry Baby, what I love is the last shot of the movie. J'adore le dernier plan personnellement du film Cry Baby de John Waters. You're crying, you are finally crying, and I always seen this shot as a metaphor of, you know, at last you were free of 21 Jump Street, free of garbage stuff, and that you were becoming an actor. Was it something that you had in mind when you were doing this movie?
Definitely. I had been doing the series. I had been doing Jump Street for a couple of years, and there were film offers that came in, but the film offers that came in were exactly the thing that you would expect. For a young actor coming up, give him a gun, give him a beautiful girl, give him some criminal activity to sort of fight against, and then whatever the rest of that movie is, which we've all seen thousands and thousands of times. So I waited and waited and didn't do any film, waiting for the right one. And then one day a script came from John Waters called Cry Baby, and John had done his research, so he knew that I was at the time on all these like sort of teen magazines, there's my head and he knew that I was not comfortable with that attention, so he chose to write the film with me in mind. He said he felt like a horrible pervert when he went to magazine stands to buy all these teeny bopper magazines at the time to write the script. But when Cry Baby came and I read it, I knew there was no question that's the first step I take on my road. So I had planned to do what I could to build my own road. So Cry Baby was the first and most important for that.
Je lui disais que donc j'adore le plan final de Cry Baby où on voit Johnny Depp qui est on va dire c'est une relecture pour ceux qui ne l'ont pas vu, c'est une relecture de West Side Story dans les années 50s avec l'affrontement de deux gangs et le problème du personnage de Cry Baby, c'est qu'il ne peut pas pleurer et à la fin du film, ne vous inquiétez pas, c'est pas un spoiler, mais à la fin du film, il pleure et son visage est en larmes et j'ai toujours vu cette image comme une espèce de métaphore du fait que c'était la naissance de Johnny Depp, acteur qui se libérait de ce qu'il avait fait avant, les enchaînements de séries un peu nuls, même si j'aime beaucoup 21 Jump Street, je devrais pas le dire. Pardon. Non, mais j'ai beaucoup d'affection aussi pour la série.
Non, c'est bien.
Et donc, il me raconte que donc à l'époque, en fait, c'est John Waters qui lui a transmis le scénario et qui effectivement avait vu les couvertures. On n'imagine peut-être pas ce que c'était à l'époque l'impact de 21 Jump Street, mais Johnny était devenu une star une teen star, vraiment. Il y avait son portrait sur tous les magazines, voilà. Et John Waters avait vu ça, avait vraisemblablement flashé sur sa gueule d'ange, et parfaitement mise en valeur d'ailleurs par les revues de l'époque. Et l'idée, c'était de lui proposer ce rôle pour briser aussi une manière d'être. Et John Waters raconte que quand il allait dans les librairies pour acheter des dizaines de revues, il avait l'impression d'être un pervers pour acheter les magazines d'ados. Mais c'est effectivement le premier film où il a eu l'impression de se libérer et de tracer le premier acte en fait de ce qui allait devenir une carrière. You are speaking about a career. Do you view your own work as a career now? Est-ce qu'il voit justement sa filmographie comme une carrière qu'il aurait façonné that you would have shaped through the years?
I think I use the word career only as it's like a faiblesse, of what's another word for what I've done. I have no idea. I know that I've done some films and I made choices, and those things exist, and somehow the choices that I made and those films are will always be a part of my life. So it's a part of one's legacy, I suppose. So yeah, career is it's not a word I was ever very comfortable with. It's like the word fan. I'm not comfortable with using the word fan because they're people. They're the people who go to the cinema to watch the film and pay their hard-earned money. So fan was never a good. It's never a word that I liked because before I would call anyone a fan, they're my employers, they're my boss, and they're the studio's boss. And I think it's time that the studios understand that you guys are the boss, not them. You know?
Donc je vais traduire, mais je vais commencer par la fin. Johnny était en train d'expliquer qu'il n'aime pas le mot fan parce que le terme fan pour lui est un peu dévalorisant, dégradant, et qu'il considère que ce sont les gens en fait des gens qui vont au cinéma, qui aiment le cinéma, et que ce sont il n'utilise pas le terme de fan, il dit ce sont mes employés, mes employeurs, les gens qui décident en fait, qui payent leur place, qui font vivre cette industrie, et il serait temps peut-être que les studios comprennent ça aussi. Thank you. Et avant, oui, juste cette idée de carrière, je lui demandais s'il avait l'impression d'avoir construit une carrière, construit quelque chose de cohérent. I think that there is a coherence.
There's a coherence there, and there is in a strange way there's a monofilament, you know.
Yes.
Through each character, there's a relation with each character. Each character has, no matter how different, which is some, I suppose, one would describe as outsiders. I would say just not necessarily outsiders, but most definitely not insiders, you know, not interested. And the characters that I play, there's a broken quality to each, because there's a broken quality to each of us. So these are the fine points that you try to shape the character towards. So they are related, even though they're quite different. But so I definitely had a plan in mind for me. I just didn't know what means how I would use it, because I didn't know what films would be coming or not, you know. So it was the early films. Every time out was a roll of the dice, because if they didn't make money, then the studios didn't look at you. And for about 20 years, my films didn't make very much money.
Je lui demandais donc s'il y avait une carrière, et donc au début il expliquait que c'était surtout, il aimait pas tellement ce terme de carrière, que c'était, pour lui c'était des films qui se superposaient les uns aux autres, qui s'additionnaient, mais que le terme de carrière n'était pas quelque chose que c'était un mot qu'il utilisait par manque de voilà, quand il n'y avait pas d'autres mots possibles. Mais je rajoutais quand même qu'il y avait quand même malgré tout une cohérence dans sa filmographie. Alors est-ce qu'on appelle ça une carrière, j'en sais rien, mais qu'il y avait une cohérence, et Denis expliquait que effectivement il y avait au moins la cohérence de cette idée que tous ces personnages sont globalement, enfin les personnages principaux les plus importants sont hot. Que tous ces personnages étaient des outsiders, ou en tout cas n'étaient pas des insiders. Donc c'est vrai que c'est quelque chose qui caractérise tous ces personnages, et que c'était important pour lui, et que ce qu'il aimait en fait, c'était aller chercher le côté cassé des gens. Il aime bien les personnages un peu cassés, broken quality of characters, et parce qu'il pense qu'on a tous quelque chose en nous de cassé. There is a saying, I've written it down somewhere, but anyway, I love that Tim Burton, because we are going to speak about Tim Burton. Tim Burton said that you like people that are broken, that are yeah, you're broken too. So so you like people that are broken.
Je comprends,
and there is a lot of girls in the audience that are broken now. So I guess maybe
c'est bien. On est pas mal, on est bien. On est cassé, mais on est là.
Just before going to Tim Burton, just one question, because there is a beautiful documentary here in Deauville, which is called Val, which is the home movies of Val Kilmer, and he made a beautiful, intimate documentary about himself and his life and his career.
Beautiful.
And yeah, really. I don't know if you've seen it, but
no.
You should try it, because it's really... And je dis juste que ce qu'il vient de dire me fait penser à un moment dans Val, qui est le documentaire qu'on peut voir ici sur Val Kilmer. Val said that he tried hard to not to do always blockbuster. And I know that it's your case. And he said that it's a path where you are very much alone when you choose this road. Val Kilmer a dit dans le film que c'est à un moment donné, il en avait marre de faire des blockbusters, il a arrêté Batman, voilà, parce qu'il ne pouvait pas faire son métier correctement, son métier d'acteur, et dans le documentaire, il dit que c'est un moment donné où il s'est retrouvé choisir justement ne pas faire les blockbusters, ne pas jouer le jeu de l'industrie, not playing regarding the industry game, l'a rendu seul, et l'a vraiment condamné à une forme de solitude. And I wanted to know if it was your case, if you felt alone, and that you knew that it was a brave, audacious move.
The idea of any accolade, like courage or bravery or Um, some people have said that about certain choices that I've made. Some people have said that about choices that I didn't make, that it was brave or courageous to not do those films at the time because they were huge films. But I think it really, I couldn't say that it was bravery or courage necessarily, because it could have been pure ignorance what I was doing.
Yeah.
And every time that I made a film, it was as I said, you roll the dice every time. There was every opportunity, and this was important to me. It's still important to me. There's every chance that I could fall flat on my face and fail completely with a character. But if you committed to that character and you believe in that personnage, sorry. I won't say that word again.
That's your French.
If you believe in that character, and you've already made the commitment in your head, it probably has more to do with just irreverence and ignorance than courage. I just knew that I couldn't, me personally, I couldn't go out there and do those films. Because for me, I suppose at the time, you know, I was thinking early on, you know, Jesus, I guess I'm supposed to be an actor now. So I know I don't want to be one of those, you know, the things that come out of big factories, assembly line.
Product.
I wanted to at least try to approach it in a sort of punk rock sense, you know. Yeah, to be a punk rock actor, I suppose.
Il a jamais, en fait, je lui disais donc que Val Kilmer disait que c'était un choix quand même qui était très fort parce que on se retrouvait seul, et je lui demandais s'il fallait une forme de courage.
That's also the thing that I wanted to say about what Val says. When Val says that you feel very alone when you make these choices, because there is risk, of course. Yeah. There's risk involved. You do feel very alone, but you must. Il faut. Yeah. Who else?
Yeah.
It's here.
You.
It's you. So you have to. If it's a miserable feeling, that's the cards you got dealt, pal. Look at your cards and play them. You know.
That was the courage I was speaking of, actually.
Somebody hands you the ball, man. You have to run.
Donc je lui demandais s'il refusait des films qu'il avait fait, de films prestigieux qu'il avait refusés pour aller tourner avec Jim Jarmusch ou Tim Burton ou Terry Gilliam. Est-ce qu'il fallait une forme de courage particulier? Il dit non, c'est pas du courage, c'est plutôt de l'ignorance, parce qu'on ne sait pas ce qu'on va faire avec ce personnage. On ne sait pas. On a envie de s'investir dans ce personnage. On ne sait pas ce qu'on va en faire, et rien ne compte d'autre que l'investissement qu'on met dans la création de ce caractère. Par ailleurs, on n'a surtout pas envie, en fait, d'être un produit comme tous ceux que l'industrie peut déployer, enfin peut produire à longueur de temps. On n'a pas envie d'être ça. Il se vit comme un acteur, un punk rock actor. Which is a good definition, I think. un acteur punk rock, et voilà. Et par ailleurs, il rajoute que par rapport à ce que disait Val, il y a une forme de solitude, mais c'est une solitude qui est en fait qui est normale, puisque la décision de jouer ou ne pas jouer, elle est personnelle, et il n'y a que lui qui peut la prendre. Donc cette solitude, elle est au fond naturelle. Is that so? Yeah. Tim Burton. Edward Scissorhands. Do you recall two things first? Do you remember who was first casted for the role? Je lui demande s'il se souvient de qui était à la base prévu pour jouer Edward Scissorhands.
At the time, I was doing 21 Jump Street, and I was asked to go and have a meeting with Tim Burton. This was 89, and I had just done Crybaby, and it was for the role of Edward Scissorhands, and I was sent the screenplay, and the screenplay made me sob like a child. I cried like an infant, man, like a newborn. It was so it touched me, it just moved me greatly, and so much so that I called my agent and canceled the meeting with Tim because I was sure there was no way he would cast me in the part. And at the time, everyone in Hollywood and beyond were all sort of dying to play the part of Edward Scissorhands. And I mean, Michael Jackson wanted the part. Tom Hanks was talked about. Other actors, but who 20th Century Fox thought would be the best option for Edward Scissorhands at the time was Tom Cruise.
Donc,
and he would have been great in his own way.
À l'époque, donc, il était encore sur 21 Jump Street. Il reçoit le script de Edward Scissorhands. Il le lit et il se met à pleurer. I guess that you sob because of the beauty of the part of the story.
The purity, the innocence, I had envy of that life, that pure heart.
Et donc il pleure devant la pureté, l'innocence de cette histoire et l'envie de jouer ce rôle, à tel point qu'il annule le rendez-vous qui avait été fixé avec Tim Burton en se disant bon, de toute façon ça sert à rien, j'aurai jamais ce rôle. Surtout que à l'époque beaucoup de stars étaient déjà pressentis pour, ou en tout cas avaient été sur les rangs pour jouer Edward. On avait pensé à Michael Jackson, on avait pensé à Tom Hanks, il y a d'autres noms, et il y a notamment mais celui que le studio voulait était Tom Cruise, qui, selon Johnny, aurait été parfait dans un autre registre. I guess that, yeah, in another way, because you know, I've read, I don't know if it's only a myth or whatever, I've read that he didn't do it because he wanted that at the end the character has his face reconstructed. I don't know.
And he has hands and he's a man.
Yeah, I read that. Is it true?
That's apparently those were the notes that Tom Cruise had given.
Et on dit que Tom Cruise aurait refusé finalement parce que il voulait que, enfin en tout cas il aurait aimé, c'est pas qu'il a refusé parce que on va voir la suite de l'histoire, mais il voulait que le personnage récupère son visage reconstruit et récupère ses mains à la fin de l'histoire pour que Tom Cruise apparaisse dans toute sa
so he could become Tom Cruise at the end of the movie.
Tom Cruise, yeah, of course.
I would have played Tom Cruise at the end of the movie. That would have been.
Il aurait pu jouer.
I'd like to do that.
Yeah. So but Tim Burton, you've met him and what happened?
I finally did have the meeting with Tim Burton, and I flew to Los Angeles and went to met him at a coffee shop. I'd never seen him before, but I'm looking around the joint, trying to see if I can figure out who he is. And I saw this guy with like hair sticking up all over the place. He looked very nervous. He was sitting at a table by himself, drinking coffee, and I thought, it's got to be him. So I went over and we met, and we had a great we instantly hit it off and understood one another. And Tim was one of the first to understand me, and yeah, me and who I am. So he and I spoke for about 3.5 hours. We drank about 7 pots of coffee, and by the time I left there, I was chewing on my spoon, literally chewing on it. So it was a great meeting, but I thought, it's never going to happen. And then 1 month later, I got the phone call that said, "Hey, you're Edward Scissorhands," you know. Which that was the moment I knew. As I had with Crybaby, there was the first step. Scissorhands, the second step, put me on a strong foundation, but my own foundation. Those 2 films would set the tone for where I was going. And Tim was very, very brave to cast me. Very brave. Over all those people. And he saw something that he recognized, because it's essentially Edward Scissorhands is Tim Burton at the age of 16. You know, that was his drawing. So when he gave me the opportunity to bring that character to life, at that moment I thought, if I do just these 2 movies and they don't let me do any more, I'm good, man, I'm okay, fine.
Donc, il a eu un rendez-vous avec Tim Burton qui a duré 3h30. Il l'a retrouvé dans un coffee shop et il y avait ce type avec des cheveux un peu bizarres, avec voilà, qui avait l'air un peu nerveux en buvant son 15e café de la journée. Et voilà, il a tout de suite compris que c'était lui. Ses mains, like Edward. Et ils ont parlé pendant 3h30 et ils se sont compris immédiatement. C'est instinctif, animal, would you say? Yeah.
Tout de suite, yeah.
Tout de suite. Et c'est lui qui lui a offert ce rôle qui a été effectivement le premier. Enfin, Crybaby est la première étape, mais ça, c'est vraiment l'étape qui pave le chemin pour tout ce qui va venir après, tous les rôles qui vont venir après. Et il rajoute que Tim a été très courageux de le caster, parce que Burton en fait s'est opposé au studio qui voulait effectivement des acteurs plus prestigieux, et il a tenu bon pour imposer le jeune acteur de série télé Johnny Depp dans le rôle face à Tom Cruise. Donc. How did your companionship with Tim Burton evolve through the ages? Because obviously it's one of the key collaboration of your career.
I mean Tim and I on Scissorhands, there was a language developed that. I mean, there were times when Tim and I would have a conversation about the character or the scene. Could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then, you know, immediately after, a crew member would come over to me and say, "I just heard you and Tim speaking about the scene, and I didn't understand a word you guys were talking about. I don't think either one of you finished a sentence." And so there is this strange language that we've developed over the years, and after Scissorhands. Again, one of those things that just happens out of nowhere. The phone rings, it's Tim. This was 92 or 3, and he said, because it's Tim, and he's very, Johnny, what are you doing? What are you doing? I said, nothing, man. He said, can you meet me at the some bar in Hollywood? Can you meet me there? I said, sure. When? He said, 20 minutes. So I said, sure, yeah. I go down there, I meet him at this bar, he's sitting there. And first thing he asked me, he says, you ever hear of a guy named Ed Wood? And of course, having worked with John Waters, if you've worked with John Waters, you will definitely learn about Ed Wood, And so I knew a lot about Ed Wood, and I said, of course, yeah, I know Ed Wood, I know his work, I know the films, and he said, yeah, I'm thinking about doing this film of Ed Wood in black and white, which I thought was genius of Tim, that he was, to be in the position to tell Hollywood Pictures, Disney, basically, at the time, hey, I'm going to do this film about a cross-dressing film director who's been voted the worst filmmaker of all time. But don't worry, I'm going to do it in black and white. And it might be a little over the top. Again, a very brave choice by Tim, and then it just sort of, from our friendship, it just grew and grew from there. On to the others. Sleepy Hollow, I think, was the next one.
Yeah, 99. Yeah. Donc en fait, il s'est créé tout de suite une proximité entre Tim Burton et lui, qui était d'ordre presque, ce qu'on disait tout à l'heure, instinctif. Des fois, il se parlait comme ça d'une scène ou d'un décor, et les membres de l'équipe passaient, et puis ils revenaient vers Johnny un peu plus tard. Ils disaient, tous les deux, tout à l'heure, vous parliez d'un truc, mais alors vraiment, j'ai rien compris à qu'est-ce que vous vouliez dire. On a l'impression que vos phrases se finissaient pas. Il y avait une espèce de langage entre eux qui était de l'ordre magical, de l'infralangage, quoi. Et puis un jour, quelques années plus tard, il a ce coup de fil de nulle part. Allô, salut, c'est Tim, est-ce que tu peux me rejoindre dans 20 minutes au coffee shop? Donc il le retrouve dans ce coffee shop et il lui dit, qu'est-ce que tu penses est-ce que tu connais Ed Wood? Donc, comme il a travaillé avec John Waters, quand on a travaillé avec John Waters, on connaît forcément Ed Wood. Et il dit, écoute, j'ai envie de faire un truc sur Ed Wood, et ce sera en noir et blanc. Évidemment, à peine dit ça, Johnny acceptait. Et ce que dit Johnny, c'est surtout qu'il y a une forme de courage chez Tim Burton, surtout d'audace même, surtout d'aller voir Disney, qui à l'époque finançait le film, était le studio du film, pour leur proposer un film sur un homme qui se travestissait en femme, qui avait été élu l'un des pires réalisateurs de toute l'histoire du cinéma, et qui en plus, pour les rassurer encore un peu plus, allait être tourné en noir et blanc. Il y avait un truc un peu kamikaze, mais c'est ce qui fait le prix des films de Tim Burton et de Johnny Depp.
Et ils étaient très contents.
Et ils étaient très contents. Truly? Oh, what did you ironic?
Pas du tout.
No, okay. No. Yeah, thank you. Because there is a myth about Jack Sparrow, the executives watching the first screen test, and I think that's another tale. Maybe you can. Donc Disney n'était pas très content visiblement de ce qu'ils ont vu et du film. Et je lui rappelle que quand il y a eu les premiers, c'est Jerry Bruckheimer told me that once. Jerry Bruckheimer, qui était producteur du film, m'a raconté un jour que quand il avait montré les screen tests de Jack Sparrow, donc Disney produit une adaptation de son extraordinaire attraction, voilà, et au milieu il y a Jack Sparrow. Jack Sparrow, pour ceux qui connaissent pas pas le film, mais l'attraction, c'est un personnage qui apparaît, mais qui est quand même assez peu dessiné. On ne sait pas grand-chose. Donc, j'imagine bien les exécutifs de Disney qui sont là, qui s'attendent à voir un film de pirate, donc avec un gros pirate, kind of muscular pirates, et donc ils voient les screen tests, les premiers screen tests. Jerry Bruckheimer les invite visiblement, et quand ils voient les screen tests, ils sont what were their reactions when executives saw that screen test? What did they say?
Why is he doing that?
Pourquoi est-ce qu'il fait ça?
Why
Yeah.
Why is he doing that? What does it mean?
Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire?
I don't understand the word he's saying.
Je ne comprends pas un seul mot de ce qu'il raconte.
We will have to subtitle the film.
On devra sous-titrer le film.
Can
Is
we fire him?
Est-ce qu'on peut le virer? Actually, Jerry Bruckheimer told me that they wanted to cut your part. Is it true?
They wanted to be as far away from me as possible.
Yeah.
They really did.
Yeah.
And what was
Is he gay? They asked also.
Yes, I got a phone call from one of the upper echelon, one of the bosses at Disney, a woman named Nina Jacobson, and she called me on the phone and said, "Johnny, please, just tell me, what's wrong with him? Is he insane? Is he drunk? Is he gay? Is he?" And that was the moment when I thought, I'll finish this now, you know. And I said, "Nino, you didn't. Of course, you know that all my characters are gay." And she basically just said, "Oh my God, oh my God." And so, yeah, for about the first 2 months of shooting, Disney was very, very shocked, and they hated what I was doing. Michael Eisner was even heard to scream, you know, "Depp's ruining this movie. He's ruining Disney." And I told him, "Look, if you're that uncomfortable, you can please fire me. Please pay me.
Again.
Please pay me, but fire me, and get somebody else." And luckily, they didn't. And when they saw the character cut together, they started to notice that things got a little funnier. And it wasn't until the first real screenings for an audience, that was when they learned, oh my God, these people actually understand what he's doing and saying. You know, they're laughing, and so it was, once again, it was the people who saved me. You know.
Il y a donc en fait après les premières projections, effectivement, Nina Jacobs qui était chez Disney l'a appelé en lui disant Johnny, qu'est-ce qui se passe? Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Est-ce qu'il est ivre? Est-ce qu'il est fou? Est-ce qu'il est gay même? Et à ce moment-là, Johnny s'est dit ok, bon, c'est fini. Donc je comprends que je ne ferai pas ce film, ou en tout cas qu'on va me retirer. Et il lui a dit mais enfin Nina, vous savez bien que tous les personnages que j'ai joués sont homosexuels. Et bon, évidemment, branle-bas de combat chez Disney, on imagine. Et il y a eu d'autres screenings. Il paraît qu'on a entendu Michael Eisner, qui était le grand patron Disney de l'époque, hurler en disant qu'il fallait se débarrasser de Depp. Et Johnny Depp est allé là-bas. Il leur a dit virez-moi, payez-moi, mais virez-moi si jamais il y a un problème, je comprends. Et puis en fait, progressivement, il y a eu des tests, des screening tests avec du public. Et encore une fois, les spectateurs, vous, avez sauvé et ce rôle et sa carrière, a new career. I was wondering. I was wondering if you there is from Jack Sparrow, from Scissorhands to Jack Sparrow, and going to Raoul Duke or William Blake. I wanted to ask you a question about your influences in terms of physicality. You speak about music. I wanted to speak about silent movie stars, because there is some. You are very mute a lot of time, and a lot of things go through your eyes first. And Vincent Gallo said some beautiful things about your power of stillness and your gift of observation and of placidness. I don't know if you and I wanted to know what's your relationship with those those actors, Lon Chaney, Chaplin, that you loved. Can you elaborate a little?
As a kid, just on like I think it was public television, you could watch old silent films. So maybe I was 9, 8, 9, 10, watching these silent films with Charlie Chaplin and with Buster Keaton and with Lon Chaney Sr. and I became obsessed with these people. I became obsessed with silent films, and what I suppose fascinated me mostly then, still fascinates me now, is that they did not have the luxury of words. Everything was. I mean, some of that acting is rather grand and a little bit German expressionistic, but it's still, everything is behind the eyes, and everything is in the body, language, and the timing. And again, if you have to speak volumes and speak layers of things with nothing but body language, movement, thought, and emotion, they're untouchable. What they were able to do, plus the physicality of their work. Lon Chaney Sr. had his legs bound behind him to do a film called The Penalty, where he played his legs had been cut off. It's some of the most brilliant acting I've ever seen, physical acting and emotional. Keaton, I think Buster Keaton never failed. So those were the guys that were my heroes until, Marlon Brando or Timothy Carey, or actors that I thought were George C. Scott, that I thought were interesting and doing things uniquely. But yeah, the silent cinema is still an untapped universe.
The essence, yeah, maybe. Quand il était plus jeune, effectivement, il a grandi. You were watching at the TV, you said? Yeah. Il a grandi en regardant les grands films muets, Chaplin, Keaton, Lon Chaney, et ça l'a beaucoup marqué, surtout pour cette effectivement, tout passait par la physicalité, la puissance du corps, du geste, une extrême implication aussi, parce qu'il rappelle que Lon Chaney, pour certains rôles, quand il jouait des personnages handicapés, se scotchait la jambe, enfin s'attachait la jambe dans le dos pour jouer un unijambiste. Enfin, il y avait des performances qui sont effectivement marquantes, et surtout cette idée de effectivement la puissance de la puissance du corps, en fait, la puissance de l'élasticité. And I think that we can see that in Raoul Duke when you play Hunter Thompson like a Keatonesque, cartoonish character, I think. Quand il joue Hunter Thompson dans Las Vegas Parano, par exemple, pour moi, c'est un personnage de cartoon, la manière dont il l'interprète.
The character of Raoul Duke in Fear and Loathing or Las Vegas Parano it was Hunter Thompson, certainly, who I lived with him for months and studied him, you know, and he was kind and generous enough to allow me to do that. But trying to more than the responsibility that you have to play Raoul Duke, which is Hunter's invention, which is Hunter, you have to also pay attention to the very important the drawings that Ralph Steadman did to sort of take you through the drawings that Steadman did became part of this character as well. So yeah, there was a bit of cartoon work to do, you know.
Il y avait effectivement un peu de cartoon quand il a joué Hunter Thompson, même si le plus gros du travail, c'était il est resté quelques mois, il a étudié de près, on va dire, il a accompagné Hunter Thompson pendant quelques mois pour voir comment il se déplaçait, comment il pensait, comment il réfléchissait. See, I've read that the most important thing was to know how he was thinking, and the fact that, you know, the thinking was conducting, yeah.
Yeah, what was important was to try to learn how his mind worked, how he thought, how he would react to certain things. So I watched him like a hawk and videotaped him and pissed him off, but it worked.
Et donc c'était effectivement de savoir comment il réfléchissait. There is a room for just one quick question because it's been an hour or so roughly. Thank you for your time, Jenny. Just a quick question about Hollywood nowadays. Do you think there is still room for Johnny Depp, for actors like you, stars like you that decide not to be a product, and is it tougher than before? Or do you prefer, because you know that you will keep on exploring margins and yeah, what's your view on Hollywood now? Je lui demande s'il y a aujourd'hui encore de la place pour des acteurs et des stars aussi atypique, on va dire, que Johnny Depp dans un Hollywood, on le disait tout à l'heure, qui en tout cas pour les gros films, les gros spectacles, sont beaucoup plus aseptisés qu'il y a quelques années. Est-ce qu'il y a encore de la place pour Johnny Depp, et surtout, est-ce que ça ne va pas justement l'encourager à aller chercher dans les marges, comme vous verrez City of Lies tout à l'heure, Minamata aussi, qui est un film dans lequel vous jouerez. Voilà.
I don't know that Hollywood is any different. Hollywood itself, meaning the bosses, the upper echelon, the people who control studios, the people who make decisions, the people who send notes to filmmakers while they're making their film. I've experienced it firsthand for 30 years or so. So, and I've done the Hollywood. I've done films with studios, and I've done films on shoestrings. You know, shoestring budget, and the one thing is this: though film cinema is definitely a collaborative effort, you know, nobody goes out there and does everything alone. It's about this coalition, this group of people all working towards the same goal, and that is to make the best film you can make. But in Hollywood itself, where I would say Hollywood makes more movies, just movies, less film, less cinema. And I think that, you know, having experienced, you know, having read notes that get received by filmmakers during, I'll give you a great example. This is 20th Century Fox again. I was doing a film in the Czech Republic called From Hell. And From Hell was a film about Jack the Ripper. So if they are paying for this film about Jack the Ripper to be made, they're financing it, 20th Century Fox, you know that there's going to be a lot of blood. I mean, you would imagine, right? There's going to be a lot of blood in a Jack the Ripper film. There's going to be a lot of violence. The first set of notes that the Hughes brothers received from 20th Century Fox was, after seeing dailies, you know, after seeing parts of the film, the amount of horse dung in the streets must be regulated. There's too much horse shit in the streets. You've got to get rid of it. But wait a minute. What about the blood? Give a fuck about the blood. We don't want to see horse poop in the movie. And when I saw that note, I knew I had to get out of Hollywood.
Hollywood a toujours, au fond, Hollywood a toujours été comme ça. Ça fait quelques décennies qu'il est dans le métier, et il fait autant des gros films, des blockbusters, que des petits des films indépendants, vraiment avec des budgets très très petits, et ça fait des années en fait, et que au fond l'évolution n'est peut-être pas aussi forte qu'on peut se l'imaginer, en tout cas que certains d'entre nous peuvent se l'imaginer. Il donne un exemple sur le film From Hell des frères Hughes. Donc, en fait, une des craintes, it was one of your fears, being sent some notes about violence and blood. Il craignait.
Un film de Jacques Léventreur.
Et il craignait que. C'est un film sur Jack Léventreur, pour ceux qui ne l'ont pas vu. Et il craignait que le studio se plaigne de la quantité de sang qu'il allait avoir à l'écran. Enfin bon. Et les premiers retours quand ils ont eu les premiers retours du studio qui voyaient ce qu'on appelle les dailies, c'est-à-dire jour après jour, ils avaient les rushs de ce qui était filmé. Et les premiers retours qu'ils ont eu, les premières notes que les frères Hughes ont eues sur leur bureau, ça a été le studio donc expliquait: il y a trop de merde de cheval dans les rues. Enlevez-moi les merdes de cheval ou de chevaux qu'on voit dans les rues. Il n'y avait rien sur le sang, rien sur la violence. C'était juste le caca de cheval qui visiblement embêtait les studios. Et c'est à ce moment-là que Johnny Depp s'est dit: ok, il faut vite que je me barre de cet endroit.
I was sure at that point none of them could appreciate Bruegel also.
What is Bruegel?
Bruegel, the painter.
Oh yeah, c'est vrai. Et il pense que effectivement aucun des exécutifs qui avaient envoyé cette note n'aurait pu apprécier Bruegel, qui est le peintre, voilà.
There was always a dog.
Yeah. There is always
dans
les tableaux de Bruegel, on voit souvent effectivement un chien qui fait caca ou des chevaux. Enfin, il y a des voilà. Thank you, Johnny.
Merci, thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Merci
à vous. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
beaucoup.